Okay, so I guess this is kind of car talk. I find I do a lot of videos because before I thought about maybe uploading stuff to YouTube, I would call this my journaling, my diary, because after my transplant, I think I mentioned my hands tremor a bit, and writing long amounts of things, like my hand just gets too tired and I can't really do it that much anymore. So I had the brilliant idea a couple years ago to just start recording my feelings in videos. Um, and as I look back on them, a lot of them are just done, sitting in my car after I've parked it, um, which is fine. Uh, Part of that started because when I get really tired, I park my car and I have to gather my strength to get out of the car and walk up to my apartment. So this is kind of a fun way to pass the time. So today is a Super Bowl Sunday. It is, I don't know which Super Bowl, I think 52. I think it's Super Bowl 52, out at the SoFi Stadium in LA. And the Rams are playing the Bengals. We had a big disappointment 2 weeks ago when the Chiefs played the Bengals, and it was very upsetting. And there are parts about that game where I'm like, we could have had those points and we could be in the Super Bowl right now. And I'm not alone in that feeling, but it is what it is. It was sad because, like, a big thing that my boyfriend and I did this past year is we watched every Chiefs game together. And I've been a fan of football, kind of since I was a kid, because I grew up, like I said, in Nebraska, and Nebraska is, Husker Nation, with the football team at UNL up there, which we don't need to talk about right now because I get asked, are you a Husker fan? I can't say no because I'm from Nebraska. They have also been disappointing me since like 2000. So, not going down that rabbit hole right now, but I learned so much this season watching every game with him, because he's not I don't know, he's just a guy that likes football, so he knows a lot about football. So we'd watch games and there'd be things that I don't understand, and he would explain them to me, and I just slowly learned things as the season went on, which has been really made the games a lot more fun to watch. There are still some things that I just don't get. The biggest thing that I don't understand about football is the penalty of a pass interference. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point of the whole game? Is you want to block somebody from catching the ball. Pass interference. The first time I heard that was a foul, I was like, but you can intercept football, but you can't pass interfere with the football. And I guess, if broken down, and Joel has broken it down for me many times, and I kind of get it. But at the same time, I'm still kind of, isn't that the point? Isn't somebody that interfered with a pass, aren't they doing their job? I think they're doing their job. So I don't get it. Like, I get, the face masking, and you can't grab onto somebody's jersey, I guess. I don't know. I feel like when we were kids and we played flag football, you just kind of grabbed onto whatever to stop them from running. There are penalties that I get, but pass interference. I think one time Joel explained, he was like, but if that guy hadn't been there, he would have caught the football. Exactly. Exactly. And the guy was there, so he didn't catch the football. So that's something I don't understand. They have the 2-minute warning, so then they don't stop the clock. But they might stop the clock sometimes. And the whole stopping of the clock, I don't really understand why sometimes the play will end and the clock will still be running, and sometimes the play will end and the clock will stop running. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like how there is a defensive position called the safety and also a play called the safety. because I think there are so many words in this vocabulary, like the English language. You couldn't have picked two different words for these two positions that do, well, one's not a position, one's like a play or makes points, whatever. Couldn't you have picked like two entirely different words for those? Like, was the basket of words available to use to name football things that small that they had to be the same thing? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I learned what a third and out is, and we don't like that. You like it for the other team, but you don't want your team to do that, because that just means that they're going to punt the ball. So, I don't know, but I'm excited. I've liked the Super Bowl, and I mean, growing up, it was definitely not more so much the game as it was we really enjoyed watching the fun Super Bowl commercials, which I feel have taken a downturn a bit since I was a child. I haven't really been too impressed with too many in the most recent years. 2 years ago, I was up in Nebraska watching the Super Bowl. We were moving my mother from an independent living apartment into an assisted living apartment, and they had it playing in like the big resident lounge area. And so my sisters and I would take breaks and go down and sit with some of the other residents watching and having some football snacks and stuff. And I don't know if any of you guys remember, but there was a Google Photos commercial, and it was all about this older gentleman, and he had saved all these photos of his wife who had passed away into his Google Photos, and then he could say, Google, show me these pictures. And it was a beautiful commercial, and I cried because I'm a crier sometimes, but it also cried because I was in a room with 80, 85 plus year old people who had all lost a spouse. So it was just like, oh my gosh, this is hitting a little too close to home. That was also the year that it was Shakira and J-Lo doing the halftime show. And I mean, props to them. They can dance. Like, they can dance. But the type of dance that they were doing, it was a little risque for that senior citizen crowd, and it kind of made it very uncomfortable to watch with them. So that is not something that I would recommend. But Joel's excited for this halftime show because it's Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar, which seems like it's going to be a great show. But there's a part of me that kind of thinks my 16, 17-year-old self is very excited for this show. I'm not sure about the me now. Like, I am, because I was that, teenager. And no disrespect to these artists. Like, they are amazingly talented, and that cannot be argued. But are they the most, like, current entertainers? I'm not really sure. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic show. It's just going to be really interesting to see what they actually do. So that's exciting. Yeah, so I did a little bit of DraftKings for this game. I've never done that before. But Joel did it for a couple games and was talking to me about it. So I looked and I downloaded the app to look at it, and they offered me like some free bonus tickets if I signed up. And so I did. And so last night I just made a couple lineups. You have to like choose a captain and then choose like 5 flex players, I believe. And so I entered 4 contests or whatever they're called, and I just used 2 different lineups. And honestly, I picked my lineups. I tried to do some research about like, who to pick and everything, but I don't follow very well. I just saw them name some names. I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. So it's kind of like the first time I voted when I was, like a senior in high school, and you vote for like the school board, and I didn't know anything about anything, and I was like, I like their names. Those are good names. I don't vote like that anymore. I educate myself, but like for this, I was like, huh, they had a nice smile in their little picture. I like that. So I have 2 different lineups, and one is, and they're kind of like opposite from each other. So, Joel seems to think I'm going to be very much more intensely paying attention to the game today because of that. And I'm like, babe, like, I don't really even remember who's on my lineups. Like, I know it's on my app, so that'll keep track for me, but I don't really remember where do I put? So I just hope it's a good game. So I spent $25, and I mean, it's kind of like whenever I've gone to a casino and I take out $40 to go, and then if I win, I win. That's great. And if I win and I play down back what I've won and I leave with nothing, I've really only lost $40, which is a pretty good amount of money for a night out. So here I'm like, even if I don't win anything, it was $25. Like, that's, a cheap night out. So I'm not going to be mad about it. I mean, it'd be a nice little, like, welcome to your birthday week, because my birthday's coming up next week. Here's the money, but it's not like I haven't gambled my life savings away on this Super Bowl or anything, but Super Bowls are fun. So I'm looking forward to watching it. It's just some things about football I just don't quite understand. Come the next Chiefs season, the questions about it will probably start coming up again. So, whatever team you're going for, the Rams or the Bengals. Oh, I have to say that when I watched one of the Bengal games earlier, and I don't know that it was the one against the Chiefs. It wasn't the last one against the Chiefs. Maybe it was the one that they beat us before. They called all their rookies the baby Bengals. Oh my goodness. The baby Bengals. I don't know. I just think that is like the cutest nickname ever. So I'm just like, the baby Bengals. And I just love the baby Bengals. It's just, that's just I don't know. That's just the most adorable little nickname. And I love it. And I just think about the little baby Bengals. Little baby Bengals. They're playing in the Super Bowl. Like, they're big Bengals. So that just makes me happy. Anyway, I hope that everybody's having a great day.